All right. Well, I am Ashley over at Teachable. I am the person behind our blog, our newsletter, and our Make Change Roundup that you might see every Friday. And I am sitting here with Carrie-Anne Moss. And Carrie, could you give us a little background on yourself and how you became a course creator?
Well, I am a mother of 3 children. I am also an actress and a wife, and I also created a website a couple of years ago called Annapurna Living, which really was something that I was called to do many, many years ago, but put my children in the forefront of what I was doing. So they were really, when they were really tiny and as they were growing, that takes up so much energy. And then I was acting as well, but I had this yearning in the back of it, back here, that
Right.
and in my heart, that wanted to create this platform where I could share some of the things that I was learning around motherhood, around well-being, around consciousness, around meditation, yoga, around simple ideas of thinking that I wanted to share. And so I created Annapurna Living about 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, actually,
Wow.
a year and a half ago. Yeah. And it's just been so fulfilling for me to actually have a place that I get to bring myself to in a way that isn't controlled by, say, a movie or a television show or a PR world. Like, it's all me. And I found that to be pretty, pretty exciting, that we live in a time right now where we can create what we want to share. And it's been amazing. And I try to keep everything as simple as I can. My motto is simple and sincere. So everything that I teach meditation and yoga. That's a small part of what I teach. But what I teach more than that is, how do you bring consciousness, awareness to the day-to-day tasks of a modern life? As a modern woman today, moving through your life, how do you bring simple ways to be in your life and not be totally distracted, to not be full on in anxiety and manic mind thinking,
which we all relate to. I know that was me this morning.
Yeah, we all do. And it really is the times that we're living in. The times that we're living in are incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that I'm sharing, I teach Kundalini yoga. I've been studying Kundalini yoga for over 20 years. And Kundalini yoga was brought here in the 60s for the times that we're living in right now. It was predicted by the man Yogi Bhajan, who brought Kundalini yoga here, that these times were going to be so incredibly challenging and people were really going to be having a hard time. And I know that's true. It is so true. And when I decided to become a teacher and not just be a student of it, was because I was lying in bed at night with so much anxiety. Every night I was just stressed to the max. I couldn't get out of the craziness of my mind. And I decided one night, like, I can't do this anymore. And I knew that I needed to take the training. And so I took the training. It completely transformed my life. And I want to share that with women out there who maybe have never heard of Kundalini yoga or are never going to go to a class. I'm going to share with them a simple 3-minute meditation that has the power to transform their entire lives. Because when you get out of the thinking mind and the manic craziness of your mind, you make good choices. You know what to do. You know what relationships to have, what job to take, what to eat, how to take care of yourself. I mean, it all just, you become more creative. You become more prosperous because you understand what's important in your life.
Absolutely.
As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about what I'm doing.
No, but I love it. And I was going to ask, what's your inspiration behind the course and what you hope people would get out of it? And that's exactly it. I feel like that really does come through as soon as you open your course. It's that kind of authenticity and shines through. So I was looking at your blog compared to your course, and what do you think that you're able to do within your course that you couldn't do on your blog?
Well, I think the trickiest thing for someone like me, and there's a lot of people like me that have something that they're offering. It's like, how do you offer it? Like, I couldn't find the platform.
Right.
I really didn't. I was originally, these courses that I do, I was doing them in 10-day email courses, and I enjoyed that. It was great, but I really couldn't figure out, like, how can I create a container? What container can hold this for me?
Right.
And Mariah Cause, who has been helping me understand business more, because I'm very creative. I'm a good businesswoman, but I'm more creative. I'm someone who has good ideas, but I'm not always able to execute them. So Mariah has really been helping me to see how to execute things and to have a plan in action. And she recommended Teachable, and I mean, I'm just thrilled. It's exactly how I imagined when I would think about how I wanted to see it, but I just didn't know how I would share it that way.
Yeah, we do really try to provide that like easy, munchable, like lecture, course content format. So that's awesome. And I know Mariah's on Teachable too. We work with her all the time.
Yeah.
So did you play around with any platforms before you found Teachable besides that like email course?
No. I mean, I looked at them and I saw I saw some good stuff out there for sure.
Yeah.
But I always kind of got stopped. I couldn't quite, I don't know how to explain it. I guess, with the Teachable component here, it just came at the time when I was ready to put it out there that way, because what I'm offering is is a membership thing. So it's every month. And so I had to be really ready to step into having content every month. Like, I'm literally creating this content at my kitchen table, on my bedroom floor, making videos. I mean, I don't have a production office. I don't have staff. I have, I have a couple people that help me that don't live here, and it's a labor of love. It's a lot of work, and I love it. But I wasn't ready until I found Teachable. So it was just the right timing.
Yeah. And I guess we kind of hear that a lot, when I'm working with our potential course creators, are saying, I just can't take that first step. I've been pushing it off. I signed up and here I am 90 days later and haven't done it. What would you tell those people who are passionate about something, but haven't taken that first step?
Well, I think, again, I'm going to go to Kundalini Yoga. There are these sort of ideas that to live by. And one of them is, there is a way through every block, right? There's a way through every block. And there's another saying that says, start and the pressure will come off of you. Like, when you feel the pressure, start and it will come off. And I think a lot of us get stuck in that feeling of like, it's too much, it's too much. But yet if you just do that first step, you end up feeling like this release of the pressure. It's in the resistance that all the pressure comes. So I say start, have a very manageable kind of steps that you can actually take to make what you want happen. Because sitting around and talking about it is valuable, because you're cultivating the idea, you're finding it, but you have to do it. You have to put it into action. Yeah. And it has to be important to you. And if there's fear that's getting in the way, this is the thing I'm kind of exploring right now in my courses, because I create my courses every month has a different theme. It's like that fear that gets us. It's like, we can look at fear, and there's so much global fear, and then there's, fear in our country, and then there's fear in our cities, and then there's fear in our families. But ultimately, the biggest fear lies within us. Yeah. And you got to confront that. And, if the fear, why aren't you, just got to kind of move through it. You got to do it. You just have to do it. And if what you're doing is truly something that it rings so true to you, you got to express it. You have to do it. It's like your gift, and not doing it is actually just not okay. Yeah. Because that's simple. It's like, you have a gift. I have a gift. Every one of us does. Unless you're aligned with that and you're putting it out in the world, you're going to be depressed. You're going to self-medicate with whatever it is you need to do. You're not going to have a fulfilled life. You have to be living from that place of sharing what is important to you. And whether it's something you teach on Teachable, or it's teaching at a school, or what, making something, whatever it is, have to express that. That's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you said that because we do. Everyone feels that fear when they've created content and it's time to put themselves out there that they're not good enough or it will fail or, all of those kind of what ifs. Are you going to ruin your reputation? So I love that you said that. I love that you're putting that out there because it's something we're trying to do.
I'm an actress. People see me in a certain way. I'm very private. It was like literally, that moment when you publish your website or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, you know what? I put all this work into it. I had a beautiful woman, Hillary Rain, who was helping me do the design and helping me with the creating it and bringing it all together.
Yeah.
And I literally called her and I was like, I don't think I could do it. I can't do it. I'm too afraid. And she's like, well, what are you afraid of? And I said, what people will think of me. Right? Yeah. That people will judge me and think, who does she think she is? And all of the voices. And she said to me, okay, well, where are you right now? I said, I'm in my kitchen. She goes, imagine those people sitting, the people you imagine would make fun of you sitting at your kitchen table. See them. I said, okay. I saw a couple people that I thought might make fun of me. And she goes, do you really care what they think of you? And I was like, no. Right?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Totally. Yeah. And more often than not, your students are going to be super supportive.
People are rooting for you. People are rooting for you. And that's what you have to believe. I remember as an actress, I'd be in acting class and I'd be going to do a scene or something. And I'd be so nervous of what my peers would think. But the reality is everybody wants you to do well. And anybody who doesn't want you to do well, who cares? They're living in their own universe. I want people in my universe that want me to do well because I want other people to do well too. Right? It's just,
And I think that's going to ring very clear and hit a lot of people in the heart who are watching this right now. So you had this fear, you decided to do it. What next? What were those kind of beginning steps that you took to start taking this idea and forming it into a course?
Well, I think the biggest transformation happened to me when I realized with creating the content that I was creating on Annapurna Living, when I realized I really had to bring myself to it. I had to bring more of myself to it than I really thought I would.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I would eventually be making videos with my laptop. No lighting, no hair and makeup, no editing, just push play and, just me. I would never in a million years have imagined that it would go down like that. That I would feel that comfortable creating what I'm creating.
Right.
But it took, at first the platform that the blog felt a little arm's length. The information, I think the information was stellar. The writing was all there and all of that. But slowly it became, okay, am I really willing to put myself out there and to share authentically and from a truth? At the same time, keeping an incredible amount of privacy. I'm a very private person at the same time. Like for instance, on Teachable, I have these videos that I make, and I make these videos every month, and the women would love to keep the videos, but I really had to think long and hard about that. Like, okay, I could do that, and I would want to. I'm very generous. I want to, but that would affect the way in which I share.
Yeah.
If I thought the potential was that those videos would just be anywhere on YouTube or whatever, people just, sharing them or whatever. And then I couldn't share authentically. So I realized, okay, that's a boundary that I need. And it still could happen. I'm sure people can figure out how to do it. But just for me, that was important. So I had to find a balance between sharing myself, being, being private at the same time, but still being vulnerable and authentic and open and sharing. It's a fine line. And that's what I've been exploring the most. And then I think that probably the most challenging thing right now for me is that I could do this 24 hours a day. I'm so passionate and excited, turned on by it, but I do have 3 children, a family, a career. And so I, when you work at home, it's so easy to not have any boundaries about like when you turn your phone off or when when you're not going to return any more, customer service emails or whatever. And so I'm still finding my way with that part of it.
The balance, of course, of course. So I was looking at your course and reading your blog, and it's very clear that you generate the sense of community around your course. And you do like a live chat with everyone once a month, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, how did you get the idea to do that, and how have those chats been going, and how are you building your community?
Well, I always had this vision of creating this women's circle. And I, whenever my friends when we were all having our babies, I would always organize these baby blessings where we would all come and we'd make a circle, we'd make food, and we would all share and we would celebrate the woman having the baby. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring that element into this with, I have women from all over the world being a part of this experience. What I'm offering is an experience. I want to give women an experience. So, so that one element of how do I do that live thing, Teachable has that, I can do that with you guys. And so, when I realized I could do that, I decided, okay, once a month I'm going to do that. And I just love that part of it. Because that was the one piece that I couldn't do in the email course. I mean, maybe I could have found a way to do it, but I love that it's held on the site. Yeah. And it's been going so well. What I think is so interesting, I made kind of a strong, I'm not really a big Facebook person, and, there's a Facebook group for our course and I interact a tiny bit in it, but, where I kind of interact the most is in that conversation. Yeah. And so, what I love when I look at the Facebook or I look at the comments that we have in the Teachable site too, is all the women are taking care of each other. It's like when the community, they're all just rallying around one another. And that's really what I wanted to create. I'm not looking to be the star of this or to be like I want to be a part of it. And so that's pretty cool that, I see a woman, struggling with something and all these women come around her and they offer her support. Yeah. And that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that is incredibly important to put out into that like cultural dialogue we have around women right now. And what do you think your website and your course is contributing to that overall conversation?
Well, I mean, I've always been a real woman's woman. I've always had women friends. I mean, I've never experienced sort of the negative idea around being a woman, and how women are with each other. It's just not been my experience. So it's very natural for me to have this circle of all of these women. It almost feels like I've been preparing for this my whole life in some way. To be the holder of the space. I feel like I'm like holding the platform so women can step into it. I don't want to be like standing up there by myself. Like it's not my thing. And so how am I contributing to it? Well, I think the thing that I hope that I'm sharing, and I think every month it's a little different because we're teaching something different every month, but is really giving women the tools to uplift and inspire their lives without having to buy anything. Yeah. Without buying into this cultural, advertising of that you need to buy X, Y, and Z in order to be beautiful, valuable, all of these things. It's like women have been so distracted from their true grace and their true beauty by cosmetic companies, by dieting, by tabloids, by reality television. I mean, all of those things have distorted what it means to be a woman in such a major way. Right. And for me, I'm at this place where I am like, enough is enough. Like, I'm not buying into any of that. I don't want my daughter to have to buy into it. I don't want anyone to have to buy into it. Yeah. We are enough. We are so creative and so beautiful and graceful and amazing when we stand in our center and we aren't looking outside of ourselves to give ourselves value. Absolutely. And so that's sort of the biggest thing that I want to empower other women. And listen, I need it too. It's not like I'm super confident all the time or I'm teaching what I need. It's like in Kundalini Yoga, it's like if you want to master something, teach it. Yeah. I'm only teaching what I need. I'm not an expert. I'm not like, I don't know it all at all. Like we have these circles where I talk, where we have this conversation, people write in. It's like, I'm really clear. I'm not answering questions. I'm having a conversation. I'm not I don't have the answers for you. Have the answers for you. I have the answers for me. But we're, as women, we're so disconnected from our intuition and who we are because of so much bombardment of so much information.
Yeah.
That if you can take a few minutes every day, connect to yourself, to your soul, to your heart, you can, you can change the course of your life.
Absolutely. And that's so wonderful to hear too, right? Because just like coming back to this whole idea of being a creator and like a course creator and putting things out there, everyone is so worried that they're not an expert. They lack confidence and they have fear. And what we always say is that an expert is just one step ahead of you. And the best way to learn is by teaching, because it's exactly that. Like someone who is an expert kind of forgets what like a beginner is going through and they seem so unattached. I always think of like that professor in college who like starts the first day with this massive amount of theory and just like no one relates to it. And the best teachers are your friends who went through the class last semester and can say, oh, here are the small things you need to know. And it is much more of a conversation.
Absolutely. I'm weary of anyone who calls themselves an expert.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, it doesn't light me up.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. So one thing I also loved about your course was looking at your price point, right? So I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, $29 a month.
Yeah.
And that is so incredibly affordable, especially for a course like this. And, especially if you're in a big city, one yoga class, will cost
totally
$30 by comparison. So I wanted to ask how you picked that price point.
Well, I really want it to be affordable for everyone. And I want it to, I know that there are women that are having to put money aside to pay for that. That is the reality for a lot of people. And, I've taken courses that have been much more expensive and I've gotten so much out of it. But it's like, as I'm doing these courses that are expensive, I think to myself, oh, I wish everyone could do this, Yeah. So how do I share this with, so that the people who need it can get it too. I'm planning to do a little increase because what I've realized is that there's a lot of work going into it and I'm bringing people in. And so we're going to do we're going to put it up, I believe next month to $39, but all the women that are in it now, like the founding women will always be, they'll be at that price because I want to honor that and stuff. But all of a sudden I was like, it's my heart. I want to share it with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting too, right? From our end, because we can look at all the back end data, what we found is that if you don't charge enough for your course, it communicates that it's not valuable, right? So you want to be conveying that conveying that value. So people trust you. They feel that that quality, sense of quality, basically. But also, if you price your course completely for free, we found that students rarely complete even a few lectures, right? And there is a statistical significance between that. We hypothesized and we found it. And that really brought up for me personally the idea of what is an ethical price point, right? Because if you price it too low and no one sees this information that's so important, is that actually better than pricing it at a point where people will value it and cherish it and actually engage with it?
It's interesting because I've given my courses away before, out of, really wanting to, give it away. And it's interesting that the people that I gave it away to didn't do it. And so I do, there's energy in money, right? There's an energy. And so I think it's very important to have that exchange happen. And I think you're totally right. I think you have to know your value and put it out there in a way that you're confident with, and that feels good to you. So I totally agree. And I have a generous inclination. And I would love, I really would love to give it away to everybody, but I know that that's not the right thing. Whenever I've given it away, people don't do it.
Yep, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm a bleeding heart. I'm like, oh, knowledge, let's make it free. Not always surprisingly the best idea.
Yeah.
So as far as launching your course, how did you launch it?
Well, I did a little bit of, Mariah helped me with that. And I have to say,
Yeah.
Mariah, that I wasn't, I'm probably not as savvy as I could be. I'm learning, I'm finding my way. I just did an email, I had, I emailed my list and really found the people that this kind of thing resonated with them. I'm looking at ways to branch out to get, most people don't even know what I'm doing. And it's like,
Right.
it's growing slowly, and I'm, finding different ways to partner with people that have a very, similar,
Yeah.
consciousness, I guess.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, I'm okay with it building slowly because, like I said, I'm doing so many things all at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's happening exactly as it needs to. And there's times when now I'm getting a little bit clearer. I just brought on my first like full-time person to help me, where they'll be working, like full on. And that's going to be really helpful because, like I said, what I've also realized is, having ideas is fantastic and it's a great quality. And other people might have other skill set, and it doesn't make me less than because I don't know how to do everything. I kind of felt like I needed to know how to do everything. And I'm okay with not knowing how to do everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm offering another course, one of my favorite courses. It's a course on motherhood. In May. And so we're going to be, I'm going to really strategize that launching of that, because I feel, there are hundreds and thousands of women that could benefit from the content of that course. And so I'm going to reach out of my comfort zone and reach out to some high profile women and ask them to share it with their audience. This is a little out of my comfort zone because I'm not one to ask people to do things for me.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet, so who knows, maybe I won't, but I'm planning to. And just because the content is so fantastic, it's so important. I think it changes the whole game of parenting, and just has helped me tremendously.
You're right.
So I really want to share that. And that price point is going to be, it's a lot more because it includes a lot more. It's, live call every week, content every day. I mean,
and it should cost more,
it's a different caliber. It's a different caliber of a course. It's like a whole month of like immersion into this topic.
And we've seen people too, they've had to just raise their price points because if you get too many students, you just get spread too thin. You can't give everyone the experience you want. So you want to set a price point that like limits students to a place where it can be manageable and you can really engage with everyone and give them what you want.
Yeah.
So, I'm really excited to see how that goes.
Thank you so much.
Of course, let us know before it launches. We're happy to help share it in any way we can.
Great. I'd love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So as we kind of wrap up, I wanted to ask, just having gone through this course creation process, would you do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know I'm pretty new in it still, like we're only into our second month, but like, as we turned over into our second month and we kind of like every month, the content from the month before is gone and new content comes in. I was so excited to like share the new content. And I'm doing it alongside them because like I said, I needed to. And so it was like, we're exploring creativity this month, and it's called The Dance of the Poet. And it's about, spring, coming through. And all of a sudden I noticed like all the foliage changing, like all the trees are blossoming, the birds are chirping. Literally, I was seeing the course mirrored to me. And I thought, wow, this is so exciting. And, I've already started working on next month's and the following months, just as ideas come to me, and it's just, it makes me more creative. I'm loving it. It's a total gift for me to create this.
Okay. And is there anything small that you would have done differently within your course, within a launch, within creating your content? Anything you would want our course creators to know now rather than in the middle of their process?
I think I'm pretty happy with how we're doing it. I mean, things are changing and shifting, but then again, I have, Mariah was giving me advice, so I was probably avoiding a lot of pitfalls that she had already gone through. The biggest thing that I did, that one of the things that I found really didn't work for me is I had an email service that we had a lot of problems with.
Okay.
And so it was like people didn't get the email, or they didn't get it. And so we changed to ConvertKit. And I'm right now I'm working on making ConvertKit look better.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to do that. So we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
One of the things that I, really love is all the things that I offer are quite beautiful. They have a beautiful quality to them.
Absolutely.
And so like my old emails were very beautiful. My new emails, they have nothing but Word. So they're very simple, which is great, but I'm just trying to I'd like to add a little bit of the Annapurna Living look, to it. But that was a game changer for us because we spent a lot of time waiting at the email for people who didn't get their emails to say, check your folder or check your tabs, or we're sending it again.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. And it was stressful for me because we do, my little courses that I did, my 10-day courses were all around the moon. And so we would do them on the new moon when it's time to set those intentions and all of those things. And so if a woman didn't get the email until if she didn't even realize she didn't get the email, it was a bit of a drag.
Yeah.
And so I would feel for her, and it wasn't that we were doing anything wrong. It's just that the email service that we were using. So I think make sure you have a really, really strong email service that, right now I'm okay with it not being beautiful. I have decided function is more important. Yeah. And I will add the beauty as when I find someone who can help me do that, add that to my team or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think with your team, it's get help and get, simple help.
Yeah.
Get simple help. Somebody that wants to help out, that wants to grow with you. I mean, somebody that's enthusiastic about your vision, that wants to be part of it, that it means so much to them to be part of it, and that wants to grow with you. I mean, that's probably the hardest part, right? Is finding the people. Yeah. Finding the people to support you.
Yeah. And we do kind of suggest it for people to pair up with someone and have a partner in this course creation process, even if it's just someone to keep you and hold you to your deadlines, or to do small things. Like if a friend knows how to edit videos, it's simple as that. I know that not everyone has that. So from my end on the blog, I'm always trying to do that and be that person. So it's always all of our tips, we try and use free technology or the cheapest technology that we know is reliable, and put that at people's fingertips. So they're not sitting there wondering as well.
Yeah, you mentioned something and I ended up getting it. I got that little tripod for my for my phone. And so now, and I got a little thing, I push the button, because before I was
very cool,
pushing start and pushing stop. Yeah. I love what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So final question, do you have any last advice to course creators out there?
Really connect with yourself and know what what you want to share, and don't be too hooked into something you thought you wanted to share if that's changed.
Okay.
I think that's something that I kind of try to even include it in my courses, because we use the moon in a very practical kind of way. And it's on the new moon, okay, you have what are you wishing for? What's coming to you right now? And I think an old way of looking at goal setting was, okay, I have this goal and this is my goal. And what if the goal is changing, but you're so hooked to the goal you thought your goal was? Yeah. Your goal was at January 1st, but really, if you are truly in flow with yourself, that's going to change and ebb and flow. And so you want to be open to that. What lights you up today? And that doesn't mean necessarily throwing away everything, but not being too rigid with that process,
Right.
I find that that's made me so much more creative. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I'm using the moon, because it's I find, and I mean, there's lots of reasons why, but my experience of it is that on the new moon, around that time, I get a lot of ideas. And so I block out that time, and not literally block it out, but I hold it as important and sacred. It sounds new agey, but it's actually not. It's actually old. It's old, and it's wisdom. It's wisdom as a woman. Yeah. And it's oh, that's why, I would always think to myself, oh my God, I felt so creative last week. I must be doing something wrong. What am I doing different this month or this week? that I don't
Yeah.
feel that. Well, it's actually the actual flow of a month.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you know when you feel like, I realized like a year into Annapurna living,
Right.
that Sunday was my day to write. Like
Yeah.
I would never have thought that, but Sunday was the one day, you know, I'd have kids. And so I'm in the morning, I'm rushing out the door, making breakfasts and lunches and all of that. And I love to sit at my kitchen table with my tea and write. And if I had been stuck into a way of thinking, that would never have crossed my mind.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
You want to be flexible. You want to be flexible with your mind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think we all have that in our routines, like times that we find that work better and things we learn about ourselves, like whether we write better in the morning or evening, or, for me, I love waking up at like 5 a.m. in the morning and writing until 9 and then coming into work and having this like thing just done. So
yeah. And that's one of the things on Annapurna Living is on Fridays, I feature women.
Yeah.
And this year I'm featuring like entrepreneurs that have like these soulful businesses. And so asking them all like what their process is like, and how they conduct business. It's so good. Like, and not to, to take what you like and leave the rest. It's like, that's a great idea. I'm going to take that idea. I'm going to take that idea. Oh, I have this idea. And, it's helpful. We don't really have any models to look up to. I mean, there are some, but it's like finding people.
Finding the people, the inspiration. Absolutely. I know I have my list of go-tos as well, that when I'm feeling kind of drained, I'm like, I just need a little inspiration. I'll put on a few clips here and there. So
yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah.